talk, bro, because my team tonight is so far in the gutter. We're living with it right now. You all seen the It film? We're like right down there deep in the gutter with it. Fuck me. We are clowns as well. There's some fucking irony in that, and I didn't even realize until I said it. We're going to come back to Arsenal in a minute. KJ, 6 defeats in 5 games.
Yeah, it's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good. So I was actually doing other things while the game was on. So the game was on in the background. I was watching it where I can. And I'm glad I was also busy because I didn't have to sit down and analyze and be pained by all the whole thing that's going on. I saw the goals. First of all, just shout out to Rasmus Højlund. He did his job today. I was generally started to believe we're gonna get our Rooney versus Galatasaray moment. Højlund hat trick. We win the game. We go on and we actually start a Champions League campaign from now. But no, these guys can't keep a clean sheet to save their life. It's everything. DZ made a great point. The last game was last match reaction was with Man United. We lose, but every time we lose, it's something different. Today, it felt like every single problem that we've had just came into one game. Goalkeeper making mistakes, defense being weak, the attack not being able to finish their chances. It was just all the problems in one game. And as a Man United fan, I'm just here just wondering, how do we get out of it? I believe that we have to steadfast and, you know what, actually go through the pain to get through where we want to get to. But I don't think this club will. Now, I know a lot of people will be Ten Hag out right now. I know they'll be screaming for him to get sacked right now. And I am tired. My main point of the whole day is we are in a cycle and we need to break that cycle. We need to end it. We need to finish it. And the only way we do that is if we allow a manager time to go through everything. Go through all the great times, go through all the poor times. Right now, Ten Hag and the team are going through a poor time. They are dreadful. Our main player in Rashford is dreadful. Our captain right now in Bruno is dreadful. Our new signing in a goalkeeper, dreadful right now. Onana has not adapted to the way that we thought we would. And the manager right now, his choices, what he's doing on the pitch, the way we set up, with the amount of goals we concede, he's dreadful right now. But honestly, we have to get through it. Because if we sack him now, Terry, we're in the same position that we were when Ten Hag first came in. You know, he's got all these players that the manager didn't buy. He has to look at every single person again. You know what, Sancho, you come back into the fold. Let's see what you can do this time. Martial, you start some games. You know what? Maguire, you start some games. And McTominay and all these players that we've seen for time and time again who should not be here in the first place, get another lease of life. And then they have an upturn in form. You know what? Bruno and Rashford will probably turn on the form again and become good again. We win some games. We may get top 4 or maybe narrowly miss out. But we'll say it's okay because the manager got sacked and we got a new one in partway through the season. So he needs time. And then another season goes by. The new manager does well. Another season goes by. Now everything comes collapsing down because this club does not know how to be steadfast in times of adversity. In times of adversity. And that's and that's our problem as a club. Because for me, there's no point of saying Ten Hag this and Ten Hag that and Rashford this and Bruno that and this player this or that, because we've been doing that for years and I'm personally tired. So we can look at today's game. We can look at Casemiro being stupid. We can look at Onana being woeful. We can look at Rashford listening to social media more than he does his own football brain, because when he was doing this, he was scoring goals. Now he's doing all of this, listening to all these different voices saying he should do that in the third. Yo, stop that. Block them out, bruv. That's why he's doing that in the first place. Because he had the mentality. It's gone already. Flipping hell. But yeah, we just need to get through it. We just need to get through it. And I just don't think we were able to do that. And my last, I'm going to end with this. People laughed at me, but this downfall all starts with that damn shirt release. I'm telling you now. When you make deals with the damn devil, this is how we get repaid. So excuse me for being like this when I watched that video. Thank you.
Mate, I hear where you're coming from on that. Hannah's here with us. Welcome back after your time away on holiday. But obviously, maybe at sort of 60 odd minutes into the game, it looked like it was going to be a fun match reaction, but the team collapses again. More poor defending, poor shape. Onana with another calamity, and we're on the back of our 6th defeat in 10 games.
It's so bad, isn't it? I'm like the optimistic fan. The first few games, and I was like, it's fine. It's only a few games, but it gets more and more and more. And watching these games, whether it's the Premier League, Champions League, you know, games like tonight, why is it like none of us can celebrate a goal? As soon as we score, we concede. And it has been apparent in pretty much every game this season. And it's so frustrating because we can't even get excited. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone does get excited when we score anymore, but it's just so short-lived. Like the second we concede a goal, then they lose their heads. They can't get back into the game. And it's the mentality, isn't it? It's a stark difference to last season. And it's obviously we've regressed, and it is worrying. But yeah, I think the mentality is so weak. And the other issue I have is in certain games, I think in different fixtures, we have half the team that play really well. Like for tonight, we had some really, really good like individual performances. I feel really sorry for Højlund because obviously getting a brace, his 3rd Champions League goal in 2 games is really, really good. And obviously that was overshadowed. People have good individual games. Mount was good today, but then the rest of the team is terrible. Bruno, again, terrible today. Rashford, okay, but again, last season he would have been scoring that. So it's really hard to kind of see positives when the team just aren't in like any kind of symmetry. They're just all over the place, every different game. Players that had a good game tonight have been crap last week. The only time I've seen us play and like a team this season was the Palace game in the week, obviously not at the weekend, but it's just they're never all having a good game. Half of them are dropping stinkers, half of them are doing absolute masterclasses. So it's really annoying, and the inconsistency, like I say, compared to last season it's scary, right?
No, listen, I think most people will agree with you. It's you look at tonight as a prime example. You got Højlund, who put in what I would say is one of the best centre forward performances the Man United players put in the last 10 years. There'll be others that have done it, but holding the ball up, bringing people into play, the way he drove in the opening minute, he drove at the right back. And I just thought to myself, this is the Højlund I was looking forward to seeing. When he broke through, we saw that pace for his 2nd goal. And I'm sitting there thinking, I was so excited, thinking, right, let's see this game out and let's build from this. And then it's other people letting us down. And how are you feeling about the manager right now? Because when you lose 6 of 10 games, you can look at individual mistakes, you can look at all sorts of things. But is this a managerial issue right now when you're losing 6 out of 10 matches?
Yeah, it's like you said, Terry, like I'm so pro Ten Hag. Like I personally love him. But again, since the off this season, it's been really, really hard to back him in certain situations. There's some situations you look at in the pitch, like, for example, conceding really quickly in the mentality. I don't necessarily think that's directly Erik Ten Hag's fault. There's players on the pitch that are just weak. They're weak-minded. But his in-game management isn't great for me. Like, I wouldn't have started Rashford tonight. I know he got the assist, but all in all, Rashford doesn't deserve to be starting. The game last week, the Palace game where we benched Bruno and Rashford, we looked so much better. We had better control of the ball. It's frustrating for them to go from, you know, a fantastic performance like that to the weekend and then to today. And we're not surprised anymore. And I think, you know, last season we had Old Trafford was basically a fortress. Was it the 2nd or the 3rd week we lost at home? And then after that, we didn't lose again. And in 4 games, we've lost like 3 at home. It's just that mentality and that excitement has gone. And it seems like such a long time ago now that we were so excited to watch them play last season. Now, 2 games a week, I'm like, oh, I feel sick. I don't want to watch them. So they've kind of taken my joy. They've taken everyone's joy. And yeah, rival fans love it. But how can we go from such a great season last season with not all players that Erik Ten Hag wanted as well? This was kind of the squad that he came into. Yes, he did get a few players that he wanted, but how can we regress so much when he's made signings that he wants to make? And some of our signings don't look bad. I mean, I really think Højlund's going to come through. I mean, he already is. There's no doubt for certain signings, but it just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I think there should be questions about Ten Hag, but I definitely don't think sacking him anytime soon will be any good. I personally don't think he should go anywhere this season, but that's just my opinion.
No, I hear you on that. Cam's here with it. We are going to come back and talk some Arsenal as well. We're going to go to your super chat soon, people. In terms of tonight, I mean, I mean, I'm just almost at a loss for words in terms of what's going wrong at the club. I want to get your opinion, mate.
First off, cheers, Terry.
Thank you, bro. Cheers.
That's what the team's got me doing. I'm off this week. Wasn't planning on starting drinking this early, but ain't got a choice. All right, fuck, where do we start? So last time we talked, I was very much, I'm not going to blame the manager for things. I'm going to give him time. I'm still going to give him time, but this is all on him. Like, I'm putting the whole thing on him, basically. When we look at a lot of what went down, him and Delo, like that was weak from Delo early on, but whatever, we recovered. He earlier in the week said something about starting the other goalkeeper. I can't say his name. I'm not going to try. I need to hear a commentator say it. He should have done that. When we talk about players who need to be dropped, Onana was one of them. I get it. He apologized. He did all that, but he needed some time out of the spotlight, plain and simple. It wasn't even just that one moment. He had a moment right before that where he almost cost us a goal as well. It wasn't just the one. So realistically, when we talk about the reason we had to get rid of De Gea, and it was because the team doesn't have confidence in front of him. The team's starting to lose confidence in front of Onana. It's the same problem now. It's the same problem, except you don't have the keeper who can make the spectacular saves every now and then. And I'm not saying that he did not have to go. I'm not one of those people who are saying De Gea was not making mistakes, because he was. He was making the mistakes. He was a problem. But he did save us in a lot of games. That's a fact. There were those moments where you're like, all right, cool, he saves us here. Onto the shape and the attack, because I think a lot of this has to come down to him too. So when we're in possession, we look great. We look fantastic. When we're out of possession, we look out of sorts. We're easy to be cut through. The whole diamond thing, Bruno, I've said it a million times, should never be playing on the right. The reason I will not come for Bruno, I will never come for Bruno when he's playing on the right-hand side of the attack, because he just is crap there. And if I can see it, and I'm not a tactician, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I'm a tactical. If I can see that Bruno is completely useless on the right, the manager needs to be able to see it after this much time. We've tried it a million times over. It does not fucking work. So stop it. Like, at this point, it is just pointless. It makes no sense. You are taking away what he is best at when he is in the middle, when he is distributing, when he is our chief creator. That's where he is good, plain and simple. When he is out on the right, it's pointless. It's pointless. Why have him in there? There's no need. There's absolutely no need. So that's the problem I had there. The Rashford thing, it sucks for him, right? Because if he takes that shot and he does not score, which I do think if he takes the shot, he probably would score if he's in form. But if he takes that shot and he doesn't score, guess what? Everybody comes for him, calls him greedy, says he should have. And he's a professional athlete. He should be able to block these people out, but he's clearly not able to at the moment. I've never seen Rashford look for a striker like this ever outside of Martial. He has been looking for, there are so many plays. If you go back and rewind and watch the game properly, Rashford, there's times where I'm like, yo, bro, you don't need to keep like forcing it to him, but it's because people are in his head. So it does suck. I'm not trying to defend him, because it was an easy pass regardless. If you're going to make that decision, it was an easy pass.
I look at it, mate, do you know what I always say in that circumstance? I've said this many times, not just about my club. That's any inside forward or striker in that position should be shooting. I don't agree with you. Even if they pass and you score from it, I have a problem, because you're not taking responsibility. You know, everyone always got a Harry Kane in the World Cup semi-final for not squaring it to Sterling. No, your striker should shoot from that position and take responsibility. That was my issue with Rashford tonight, because he hadn't had a bad game up until then. And it just shows you, and this is why the manager's to blame, though, for me.
Yeah.
Because we can all see, watching Rashford, there's something wrong with him, and it's mental. There's something wrong with him right now. So take him out the firing line. Rashford's never improved whilst being played whilst bad. He's not someone that you can play through bad form. He has to sit on that bench, and he'll come good again at some point. The manager just made such mistakes like that. It's crazy.
I agree. He's a confidence player. I said it last time. And when he's out of confidence, you do have to take him out of the fire line. And it's unfortunate we hadn't done that. When it comes to the positives I took from the game, because, I mean, there's a few. Realistically, I mean, just two. Rasmus Højlund, obviously, he looked like the striker that we need. He looks like, and I think it's going to take him some time to be that guy, but he looks the part at the moment. When you beat your defender with the ball, like it's not even like it was he had been able to kick it ahead, triangle it through. No, this man or flick the ball. No, he literally beat him stride for stride with the ball. That was such an impressive goal The speed. Remember, I had people saying this guy was slow. Unbelievable pace, unbelievable technique to be able to run with the ball at that pace. So that was fantastic to see. There's lots of moments where he was finally really pushing to go for the ball. I think he still needs to make some more near post runs, but that'll come when the team gets to him. And then the only other positive for me was, I think we at least can say we now know that Eriksson is good in 15-minute spurts. That's it. Last 15 minutes of the game, put him in, because he cannot play longer than 15 minutes. And that's really it. So when I look at it all in all, it sucks. We are where we are. I agree with KJ 100%. We cannot, we have to let the manager, this is it. Bad times, good times. He's got to get through it. At the end of the day, there's nobody, I don't know who to replace him with, right? So if you don't know who to replace him with, you just deal with the licks with this guy because it could turn around. And then the last thing, my last point, I disagree with a lot of people on Casemiro because we didn't concede. Not giving up the goal, meaning you're out for Copenhagen. Okay. You made the right decision, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Everybody can hate. It's not echo chambers here. I think he made the right decision because it ended up saving a goal. At that point, the manager should not be having his team play a high line with 10 men. That to me was absolutely bonkers. United are good enough against Galatasaray to set up shop and get the draw, because it's all we needed at the point in time. We did not need to be playing like we were. Anyway, that was it. So that's it. That's my last point. So yeah,
I hear you, bro. Listen, I get where you're coming from. I get your point. And yeah, I would have still. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you with that. This here says lost 5 of the next 10. Ten Hag out. He's failing fast. Yeah, I mean, it's not as simple as being Ten Hag out. I've said this about the last few managers. There's never really been any manager out. Because I'm talking about the long-term future of the club. But he's losing fans, and he'll be sacked. If United goes, then you'll be in the same boat. I don't know what you mean by that, brother. You need to explain that, super chat. I agree with Ten Hag on Sancho, but you can't say Rashford and Bruno after being poor. If someone is poor in training, he shouldn't be in the squad. But if someone is poor in a game, they should not start. Again, I don't think they should start. I hear you. But what you can't call the manager out for is being a hypocrite, because he's not said if you play badly, you'll get dropped because you're not making up to you're not reaching the standards. He spoke about training behaviors. So you have to judge like for like. I agree certain players should be dropped, but that isn't the